13th District. Basically, I was born and raised here in Milwaukee County. I've lived here my entire life. Went to Thomas More High School, graduated from Milwaukee with a degree in finance. I'm currently a business manager in the 3rd Ward for a company called InStep Running and Walking. It's a running specialty store. I'm running, and I'll reiterate this over the night, to ensure that our parks are fully funded and ensure that public transit is fully affordable for all those who use it, and that's more accessible to folks here in Milwaukee County. So 1 minute's not very long, so I will just stop there. We hit those points over the night. If we don't answer all the questions, feel free to come up to me afterwards and ask. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Stephen Krager, and I just want to refer to something here. I just want to say thank you to everybody, because there were 4 of us in the race, now there's 2. So the 2 of us on the stage here, I've got to thank the rest of you for being here tonight, because if you hadn't voted for us, we got the majority of the 2 top positions, we wouldn't be here. We'd be sitting home with the other 2 parties that didn't make it this far. Anyway, I also want to thank the veterans, because if it wasn't for the veterans, we wouldn't have the right to vote. So when you see a veteran, shake their hand and say thank you on my behalf, please. Also, this is a 3-page letter, and in the side of it, there's a lot of information that might refer to a position that I may not have time to go into more than 10 seconds worth of time on, but you will know my position. And my assistant, Mike Hester, is going to be floating around here, so if anybody wants a copy of this, it's more than just a thank you note. It's about the Latin Kings, from Latin Kings to Schlitz beer. So if you have any questions, this might refer you to one of my positions on that. Other than that, I ran. My time is up, I'm sorry.
All right. Steve, if you would answer for us, please. I'm going to kind of combine a number of questions. I'm hoping that I'm capturing the essence. How can you preserve services like Milwaukee County Transit System and the Milwaukee County Park System without adding to the taxpayer burden?
Can I start with the parks? I want to start with the parks. We spent $40 million on parks last year, and I know some people act as though that's not enough. I have no clue if it's enough, the right amount, maybe too much. You have to first audit the budget down to a level of what the language is in contracts. That's very important, because sometimes you think, why does this cost so much? Why does government pay more for something than I can pay it in the free market? Well, a lot of times it's the way the contracts are written in the language. As far as generating extra revenue, I'm not opposed, and I have a formula, but it was 161 words long and it had to be edited down. This just happened today. It's going to be published in the Video Compass. But basically, to give you an example, if you look at Wilson Park and you went to 20th and Howard, you'd notice that there's 4 intersection corners there. 3 of them are commercial and they're generating taxes. 1 is part of the public park system. That corner never gets used by people except to walk across it to get to the interior of the park where they can have fun, because nobody has fun at the intersection. That's the truth, but it's $1 million corner. I'd like to see something like that if it were. Was that a stop sign?
That was stop.
Excuse me, time's up.
Parks and transit, those are my biggest issues. Our park system is a rare gem. The candidates before me have touched on this, and I'll touch on it again. 9.8% of our public land, or our land here in Milwaukee County, is dedicated to public green space for the public to use. Our founders 101 years before had the foresight to say we need to zone off these areas, because once the city starts expanding, it's a lot harder to go back. And you go to other cities that don't have this, and they're trying to gain that. We have this. We need to preserve that. We need to protect that through whatever means necessary. And with the funding mandates from Madison, the funding has gone down for those. We need to bring it back. Our parks are what brings people to Milwaukee. It's what keeps people here, and it's what differentiates us from other cities. Our transit system is a whole other problem. If anybody saw the paper this Saturday, you saw that while the rest of the transit system across the nation increased ridership with the gas prices going up, ours went down to its lowest level in 30 years. And time's up. So we need to correct that.
Thank you. Christopher, Please explain your perspective of the proposed Kenosha, Racine, Milwaukee, KRM commuter rail. How would you recommend paying for the local share of this project?
KRM is it's a long-term project that we need to spend some time looking at before it goes forward. I think KRM is necessary for this region of Wisconsin. Milwaukee is the economic engine that drives Wisconsin forward. But Racine and Kenosha and Chicago are also expanding. We need to expand as a region. When we can grow together, we'll grow more. And KRM is key for that to happen. It's not completely worked out, and we would need to request a lot of that funding from Washington, D.C. just because the price tag is so high. But once it is paid for, and once we do have it implemented, we'll see that it will grow the region. It's completely necessary for that. So I think it's still in the works, and anybody who's saying that it's not necessary, it's very short-sighted. So those are my views. Thank you.
Would you restate the question, because there's a key phrase I want to spotlight.
Of course. Please explain your perspective of the proposed Kenosha, Racine, Milwaukee, KRM commuter rail. How would you recommend paying for the local share of this project?
I couldn't responsibly tell you how to propose paying for the local share without knowing how much the local share is. And I've rarely seen a projection coming from the government where they were accurate. They're almost never accurate. I've noticed no market forces driving the need for a KRM rail system. And last week, this is something most of you don't have in your hand, but the second page of this is about the Latin Kings in a neighborhood near the Amtrak station. In case you're unfamiliar with the Amtrak station in the 14th District, it's approximately a block south of 6th and Grange and then a block west. Bottom line is, people in that district didn't seem to have any concern about a KRM track system when they're sitting in the backyard of Amtrak. Amtrak was shut down without federal government subsidies. I don't believe that we need the KRM. I believe it's driven by lobbyists. It's going to be a big money pit. I think it's a hopeless case if you were looking at it from, can it really make or even close to break even? I think it can. That's my time. Thank you.
All right, so we'll start with Stephen. Please explain your perspective of the current county management of the airport. Would you support airport privatization or establishing a non-county airport authority?
First, I'd like to know who this non-county airport authority would be. I have a hunch it would be a bunch of political appointees from somebody that maybe they had something in the favor bank and that's how they got on this board. And I question whether this is even necessary. As far as I can tell, the two things that people in the district, the 14th district, the 13th Alderman district, kind of overlaps near the airport. The two things that were brought up to me, and one, this was the boondoggle, the blue shirt, the blue neon shirt. We're taking a bond raising issue to get money to build up a parking structure, and then a percentage of the money that we don't have that we borrow, we're going to put into a blue neon shirt hanging from there. That was just a joke in the neighborhood. The other thing is the funding source for the airport noise reduction system. It's all over the map. They sometimes miss houses what they should be focusing on and hit houses that they shouldn't. And the truth is that has to be looked at a little closer. Those are the only two issues that come up about the airport when I do walking sessions in that area. My time is up. Thank you.
I think the topic of the airport and privatization in general is a very broad, spanning question. So I'll address privatization in this. Our airport is unique, that it is county-owned, that it is county-operated. When we don't, if we decided to privatize it, we lose that control. We lose what control we have over that. It's tax levy neutral, and any idea to try and sell off pieces of this is very short-sighted again, because we lose that. If we end up selling off these pieces, we lose control over it. So I think we're going to be landing planes 50, 100 years out. But if we sell off pieces of it, the money that comes in will long be gone, and we'll have lost that control. And that goes for privatization across the board. You know, there may seem like a short-sighted solution to say, okay, we'll bring in some funds by selling off some of our public parks, by selling off some of this control to the airport. But in the end, you don't use that. That's not a way to live long-term. If you look at it in a scenario of your house, you can't sell off pieces of your house in order to pay for the future, you need to find something long-term, otherwise the house is going to be